But now, how about we connect with Regina Manyara, who is in Eldoret. Regina, good morning. And that is why you have been missing here on this set. It's a cold morning here, Regina, in the city. I don't know how about Eldoret. But the conference is happening. What should you expect? Regina, good morning.
Well, very well said, Victor. That is indeed, we're coming to you live from the City of Champions. I'm talking about Eldoret, that is about to be conferred city status in Uasin Gishu County. And you can bet we're not here for a race or a marathon, so to speak, but we are here for a different race altogether. And this is a quest to have Kenya food secure. The theme of this particular conference, which is the Association of Consulting Engineers of Kenya, is engineering food security. Kenya prides itself as an agriculture-driven economy, but when it comes to matters of food security, we are having places in the country where people are still grappling with the issue of, hunger. So engineers have been here for the last 2-3 days, and the conversation is about how their professional skills can actually make Kenya food secure. To give us further details is none other than the former chair at the Association of Consulting Engineers of Kenya, none other than Engineer Kariuki Mushemi. Thank you for your time, sir. Now, this year's theme is engineering for food security. Tell us, why did you come up with that particular theme, and what does it mean for Kenya's status when it comes to food security?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I think the starting point is that every aspect of our food security requires engineering input. And we have had various discussions with both levels of government. That is in county government, government ministries, and in areas that we can work together to provide food security for this nation. It's a very sad state of affairs when people go hungry, people don't have enough food, and that impacts their life in a very big way. So we are looking at engineering input in the areas of irrigation. For many years, this country, we have relied on what we call rain-fed agriculture. People plant seeds on the ground, and they wait for rains. If the rains don't come, shida kila pahali. We also have areas where there is enough food, and fortunately we are in what is called the granary of Kenya, and food is rotting in the farms because the roads are not good enough for that produce to be transported to the consumers. And we have all these areas, and you hear kinagop, potatoes, vegetables are rotting in the farms because the roads are not good enough. So we are saying, as engineers, we can provide solution in terms of roads, in terms of irrigation, in terms of improved storage of grains, make sure the grains are drained, dried in a professional manner, that they don't incur losses and all that. We have made a series of resolutions, and we want to thank the governor of this county, His Excellency Governor B, because he's the one who opened the conference, and we had lengthy discussions on what they can do as county governors, considering that agriculture is a devolved function. And at the end of the function, we engaged the governor of Bungoma, His Excellency Governor Rusaka, who also happens to be the chair of the agricultural committee of the Council of Governors. And we put our resolution to them. We told them this is what you should do. The engineers are ready to work with you to ensure that our Kenyan citizens don't go hungry, because hunger impacts our lives in a very big way. If children are hungry, they cannot go to school. They can never become engineers, lawyers, or doctors. So that's a very key starting point. And we have plenty of Arab. I think what we need is that input to ensure that we have dams, we have major irrigation schemes, we have pipe water supply that people can use for their own daily needs and to grow their crops. If we do that, all this issue of food insecurity will disappear overnight. That's what we should do. And we're also telling the government we need to focus a bit more on large-scale agriculture. Because if you are going to have mechanized farming, the way to go is to do large-scale farming. The issue of smallholder schemes, it's good at the individual level. But on a large scale, then you can provide mechanization, you can have large-scale irrigation, you provide good roads to ensure that the food is transported to the consumers. Those are the kind of things I have discussed, and we have made a series of resolutions which will be shared with both the national government and the county government. And we are convinced that come next year, all these things have moved one step further. And then we'll be talking, hunger will be a thing of the past.
I like the positivity, engineer. But then there's a question. Before we had the devolved government come into place, extension services were readily available.
Yeah.
Now, agriculture has been devolved, and it's down at the county level, and it has been commercialized.
Yeah.
What is your take in regard to that and the role that the counties need to play to ensure extension services that also include engineering services in this particular platform get to that farmer at an affordable cost or no cost at all?
We are urging the county governments, and I said earlier, this is a devolved function, they need to come on board. But county government cannot work alone, because some of the projects we are talking about are major infrastructure projects, and they will be cross-cutting. You have a large dam that can serve 2-3 counties. The Garakuradu project is not necessarily a project confined to one county, so there is need for even the county governments to work together with the national government. But you brought a very important point. For many years, the so-called agricultural extension services have actually been abandoned for some reason. And we see it all over the place. You see now, when I was growing up, we used to have agricultural extension officers going around the countryside, asking people to make benches to prevent soil erosion, to stop people from cultivating right next to the river banks, to stop erosion. And that's not happening. We are telling the county governors, for heaven's sake, bring back the extension officers. If you do that, the farmer or the peasant farmer will be given the right advice, will be given the professional guidance, and you see a big difference in the way they do things.
Now, in your view, engineer, government is working at having KIPES operate, especially within the counties. Do you think this is the direction to take and the overall impact, to supporting food security?
I think there is need for the county government to come on board and up the game in the areas of agriculture. And I think that's why the Constitution granted them that mandate. Unfortunately, sorry to say, they are not playing that role the way they should. And we are asking the county governments, in fact, that's one of the things that the subject of discussion, they need to professionalize their services. You find a lot of counties do not have professional people in the areas of engineers, agriculturalists. They tend to focus on other areas. They are also important, but agriculture is key. If you provide clean drinking water, people have sufficient food, even those other areas of people getting sick and then you have to spend money treating them, is reduced. So that we are saying, start from the grassroots, and we keep this is a bottom-up government, is it not? So if you start from the bottom, if a child is fed well, chance of contracting kwashiorkor are reduced. Those you don't have to spend more money now at the tail end of the process to treat him, because you have already taken care of his very basic needs, and you cannot do that if there's sufficient food.
Now, compliance when it comes to matters of engineering, unfortunately, we've had gory tales, stories, loss of property, loss of life. And from the conversations that we've been having in this forum is that there's an issue on compliance, especially on the Engineering Act and rules, where now we need to move this particular compliance from the current 30% to 100%. As an engineer, where are the loopholes and how can we target them?
It's a very unfortunate situation, because I work in this industry, and every so often you find a building has collapsed, and we had a dam collapsing. Unfortunately, and we had a whole session dealing with that alone, compliance, and we had the regulator, who is the Engineers Board of Kenya, here with us. We want to ensure that the county government professionalize their engineering services. We have a lot of people at the county level, unfortunately, who are rendering engineering services who are not professional engineers. And we are having engagement with the two levels of government to ensure that at the level where you require approvals by an engineer, and assigned to be done by an engineer, it must be a professional engineer. Just the way the county government have a county attorney who must be a lawyer, there should be a county engineer who must, by law, be a professional engineer. And if we do that, I am sure things will move in the right direction. Otherwise, we'll just be reacting. A building collapses, then you rush there. You address that particular issue, then you set back. A few months down the line, another collapses, then you start all over again. We want to ensure that we have a program that addresses that thing in a holistic manner.
I hope the fast tracking of the Development Control Bill is actually going to put that in place. Now, let's still keep up with matters of, the engineering perspective of things. Now, government, pending bills as well as government's, stand on new projects has been said that is eating into this particular niche. Some are saying we might not be able to continue running business. As an engineer, how is it affecting and how do you think you can get out of this situation? It's actually a quagmire, so to speak.
Thank you for that. The issue of pending bills is a major headache. Personally, at a very personal level, I'm actually affected, and many others who are in this conference. It's unfortunate the government gives you a project, and they are not able to pay you. It's a very awkward situation, and we are praying that the government can find the resources to ensure that the project that they bring on board, they can actually be able to pay for them. And there was a program on TV the other day about what they were talking about, broke millionaires. You have been awarded a job to supply, say, furniture, supply stationery, and so on and so forth, and you're not paid. So you actually end up being worse off with a job than if you didn't have the job. It's a very sad state of affairs. And we know a government is supposed to be a going concern. You should know that when I get a job with the KBC, for instance, they will pay me. It will be very unfortunate now if I go and take a loan from a bank, I acquire goods or even services, I render them to the institution, a public institution, and I don't get paid. Is a sad state of affairs. But at least we are glad to see the government has taken this on board. Just recently, the cabinet passed a resolution that there must be a pending bills task force. And I'm glad to say the engineers will be part of it. It's yet to be actualized. There will be depends from all sectors, public and private sector, professional institutions, accountants, engineers, lawyers, etc., etc. My prayer is once that task force comes on board, the government will find the resources to meet all the pending bills. Because what normally happens, particularly in counties, unfortunately, is that there's a regime change. And you find now the new governor, is saying, I need to verify the bills that were incurred by the previous regime. I think that's an unfortunate one because we want to see the county government or even the national government as a going concern. It doesn't matter who is the county governor. It should not matter who is the president, because we are dealing with an institution which is meant to be a going concern. So I hope that once they verify those documents, the people who are owed money will be sorted out, because the government should also realize once they pay me, it is not money in my pocket. I have employees who depend on me. Those employees pay house rent. They educate their children. So money is meant to circulate in the economy. And of course, we also end up paying tax. So when we don't get paid, then we don't pay care. So even the government itself is losing. So everybody in the chain is suffering. So let us come together and pay whatever is due to the various parties, do the verification, and make those payments as soon as possible. If that is done, I'm sure we'll be a better nation.
What is your take on the direction that the regulator, that is EBK, is taking to have, engineers, local engineers, being able to actually render their services globally, and also opening up the country to allow, expatriates, from across the globe to come also and practice engineering? And I think this is something under the Washington Accord. Yes. What do you think about, and how will this now, revamp, the local engineering niche?
I think that's a very wonderful idea, because Kenya has got brilliant people, and they have worked all over. I have personally worked myself in the UK. I know there are a lot of Kenyans working in Southern Africa, in those countries like Namibia, Lesotho, South Africa itself, Malawi. So we've got very competent people. I think what we need to do is open our doors for us to go and render services outside. But it cannot be a one way. Once you open the doors are open for us to go there, we must open our doors for them to come in. So it's a question of doing a verification. That's where the EBK comes in. Is a person coming or going out there a competent engineer We don't want an engineer going there, then he does a building and it collapses. We don't want to export that kind of engineering to other countries. So we want to ensure that once the engineer we are talking about is a qualified engineer. And that's why the Washington Accord comes in. Because it sets a certain criteria for who qualifies to do A, B, C, D. And I pray that that will happen so that we can expand our services beyond our borders. And if we do, so we earn money in dollars, and the pressure on the dollar will be eased. So it's a good thing. Yeah.
Now, engineering in itself is a profession that is very much male-dominated. Yeah. Currently, we're looking at around the numbers of women within this particular profession at around 7%. Yeah. You're a man. When it comes to affirmative action, when it comes to engineering, do you think we are doing enough to also encourage, women to get into this particular profession?
I think we have moved a long way. I can tell you for free, when I was an engineer, studying engineering in the university, there was not a single lady in our class. I did a lecture the other day at the University of Nairobi. It's now 50-50. That's a major shift. Even if you attend the conference, you find the CEO of EBK is a lady. Our online secretary in ASEC is a lady. 2 of our senior officers in ASEC are actually ladies. So we are moving in the right direction. We are bringing on board the female gender. In our company itself, we have 3 lady engineers who have been with us. And they are as competent, if not more competent, than their male counterparts. So I don't want this situation that somebody sees themselves as a woman first, as an engineer second. I want to see themselves as an engineer first, and then a gender comes in later. That should be the way. Because when I have seen the performance of the engineers who work with us, I've not seen them as women. I've seen them as professionals. And they have not let me down in any way. Yeah.
Good to know. That is very positive. As you say, what a man can do, a woman can do too. Yeah, I like that.
Maybe even better.
Maybe even better. Now, parting shot.
Follow that. Engineering is a detailed-oriented profession. And to be honest, women tend to be more detailed than men. So if we have more women in this space, it's very good for everybody, even for the profession, even for this nation.
Thank you very much. Details, attention to details. Now, as we come to a close, this particular forum has been ongoing. This is a second one. This is a second edition. What is your take home and your call to action for where we are, especially with the theme engineering, food security?
Yeah. We've, as I said earlier, we made a series of resolutions. We want to escalate that level now. Those resolutions now. One, to the Council of Governors. We're having an engagement with the Minister of Agriculture, and hopefully at some point we can take it to higher levels of government, because it's a very major issue. And if we address those concerns, all these things will become things of the past. And there's no reason. If Israel in a desert can feed themselves, surely, we have 50% of our land is arable. There's no reason why we should not do it in Kenya. And I'm sure we can. I think we just need to get the proper professional guidance. And fortunately, we have a decent government, and I'm sure they'll take that on board. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very well said. We have been speaking to the former Association of Consulting Engineers of Kenya, none other than Engineer Karoki Mushemi. And his take home is that these particular conversations that have been had here are going to be escalated to another level, challenging all those who are in this particular value chain, especially engineers, to innovate around the food systems, and also county governments to also take an active role in ensuring that within the devolved units, they have done everything that they can to support agricultural production, talking about storage of this particular farm produce, as well as improve infrastructure, so that from the the farm we can actually get these products directly to the market in their best condition. And also, Victor and Mike, I hope you've heard the engineer there has also said that when it comes to the engineering profession, it doesn't really matter if you're male or female. And because engineering is a profession that focuses on detail, well, we'll have more women. I'm Regina Manyara. Now back to you, Broadcasting House.
All right, Regina, thank you so much. As you correctly put it, engineering is not only for male, but for both gender. Thank you so much. And I think the choice of location is also timely. Eldoret and Uasin Gishu in general is also known as, food basket of this country.